You know that feeling, right? That little knot of frustration when the light just stays red forever, or that dread when an important email doesn't show up. In this crazy, fast world we live in, waiting, it just feels like wasted time, like a bug in the system,
Yeah.
a glitch in our perfectly planned lives. We want things instantly. But what if? What if that time spent waiting isn't actually wasted? What if it's like a vital, even sacred part of your journey? Today, we're doing a deep dive into Ing, Reuben Juma Onunga's really powerful book, Time Spent Waiting is Not Wasted. Now, it comes from a strong faith perspective, but honestly, the wisdom in it resonates way beyond that. So, our mission today, we want to completely reframe how you see waiting, shift it from, that frustrating setback to maybe a powerful season of, well, divine design and deep preparation. We'll dig into the paradox, the psychology behind it, look at some history, biblical wisdom, and crucially, give you practical steps, how to not just endure the pause, but actually thrive in it. Ingo, he's an engineer, brings this really unique mix of practical thinking and deep faith drawn from his own life. He makes this great point, like concrete needs time to cure, to get strong. We need our waiting seasons too. For resilience,
It's fascinating, isn't it? How much our culture drills into us that speed equals success. Think about all the buzzwords: disruption, agility. It's all about moving fast. This deep dive really challenges that head on. It suggests that what feels like God's delay, or just delay in general, might actually be perfect timing. And the work done in you while you wait, often that's more important than the outcome you're hoping for. You might find your wait isn't a wall at all. It's more like a window.
okay, let's unpack that paradox then, because, yeah, the world rewards speed, fast food, fast results, hit those milestones ASAP. Waiting feels like falling behind, like you messed up.
Precisely. And the paradox is this: what looks like inactivity, like nothing's happening, that's often the most fertile ground for growth in our lives. It's in those stretches, when doors seem slammed shut or prayers feel unanswered, that the really crucial internal stuff happens. It kind of highlights our limits, reminds us we're not totally in control. And that space, that's often where real insight, or maybe for some, where God speaks loudest. Think about how we react to small delays, irritation at a red light, frustration with buffering video.
Oh, yeah, total impatience.
Right. And that mindset creeps into the big things, our careers, our spiritual lives. We start expecting everything, even God maybe, to operate on our schedule.
And when he doesn't, or things don't pan out quickly, we assume something's wrong, or he's not listening. But the book says God is never in a hurry, but he is never late. So, what does that mean when our timing feels completely off from his?
Well, it points to impatience, which the author argues is really a spiritual issue, not just, a personality quirk. It reveals how deeply uncomfortable we are with not being in control. It makes us want to force things. Think about Joseph from the Bible. A big story there.
Yeah.
He had these dreams, but then waited over a decade, sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown in prison.
Yeah, it sounds like a total disaster from the outside.
Exactly. It looked like failure.
But silly.
Onunga puts it like this: delay is not denial, it's development. God was positioning him. The pit taught humility. Potiphar's house taught integrity. Prison taught leadership. He was being prepared. Or Abraham and Sarah, waiting decades for a child. They got tired, tried to help God out.
Right, with Ishmael.
Yeah, resulting in Ishmael, a son born from impatience. Now, God was still faithful to his original promise, but their choice definitely added tension. It shows us that waiting, even though it feels weak, is really strength under submission. It's trusting the bigger plan, even when the steps make no sense.
So embracing the pause means asking, okay, what's being built in me right now? Instead of just, why is this taking so long? That's a massive mental shift. Now, it's easy to frame this just spiritually, but there's definitely a human psychology angle here too, isn't there? What's actually happening inside our heads during these delays?
Oh, absolutely. Neurologically, our brains are wired for a reward. We anticipate something good, dopamine gets released, feels good. But when that reward gets delayed, dopamine levels drop. Hello, frustration and anxiety. Our brains really dislike open loops, those unresolved things, unanswered questions. It's why uncertainty, just not knowing, can feel worse than getting a definite no. Our brains crave closure.
That explains so much. And it connects to that classic marshmallow test, right? Where kids who could wait for the second marshmallow did better later in life, higher scores, better coping skills, more success.
Exactly. It's not just about dodging frustration in the moment. Learning to wait actually builds habits of wisdom, maturity, self-control, stuff that pays off hugely long term.
So spiritually, practically, we're facing these little marshmallow tests all the time. And the book talks about handling the emotions of uncertainty.
It does. Uncertainty, anxiety, that's the term. Not knowing when or if something will happen is often way more stressful psychologically than getting bad news. That's why spiritual waiting is so tough. It usually comes with huge uncertainty. You have to build emotional endurance. Just being able to sit with that uncertainty without letting your faith crumble or falling into despair, that's a real sign of deep personal growth. Our culture shouts, move on, cut your losses if things don't happen fast. But the author reminds us speed is not always progress. Real growth, like a big oak tree, needs deep roots first. That takes time. Only then can the branches bear fruit sustainably.
That tree image is powerful, shifts the focus from just external results to internal foundation. But what about when the waiting feels less like growth and more like punishment? Or just plain overwhelming? Does mindset alone fix that?
Good question. The mindset shift is crucial, seeing waiting as preparation or positioning, not punishment. And there's science backing that studies show reframing waiting as purposeful lowers stress, increases life satisfaction. So faith and psychology really line up here. Hardship produces perseverance. Perseverance builds character. Character leads to hope. It's a known pathway. But the author doesn't just say think differently. He gives practical tools.
Okay, so what can we actually do? We can't just sit and passively wait for everything, can we?
No, absolutely not. It's active waiting. He suggests things like practice gratitude, focus on what you do have, set small, achievable goals, micro goals to keep momentum, hugely important, limit comparison. He calls it the greatest accelerator of discouragement. So true. Also, seek stillness, meditate or pray, and speak truth to yourself. Actively combat those negative, impatient thoughts. It's a mental battle first, he says.
Yeah.
How you manage that inner tension, that shapes you.
That makes sense. And it helps to remember you're not the first person to go through this. You are definitely not alone. Which brings us to the history, the stories. Waiting isn't new. The Bible, history books, they're full of people who waited. Long waits.
Indeed. And these aren't just dusty old stories. They're like divine reminders, models of how to keep faith, how to show resilience when things are delayed. We mentioned Abraham and Sarah, 25 years for Isaac. God waited until basically it was biologically impossible by human standards. So only he could get the credit. Joseph, we covered 13 plus years, betrayal, prison, but it was intense preparation. When he stood before Pharaoh, he was ready, refined. Then you've got Moses. 40 years just chilling in the wilderness, learning survival, solitude, surrender, before leading Israel. And then another 40 years leading them. His life says, hey, age is just a number when it comes to purpose. David, anointed king as a teenager, basically, but waited years for the throne, refused shortcuts like killing Saul when he had the chance, a massive test of trust, of character. Even Jesus. Think about it. 30 years of obscurity before a 3-year public ministry, always sensitive to timing. My hour has not yet come, he'd say, and beyond scripture. Nelson Mandela, 27 years in prison. Emerged, not broken, but with this incredible vision and forgiveness that transformed South Africa. Florence Nightingale, years fighting to get into nursing, facing huge resistance, became the pioneer of modern nursing, Mahatma Gandhi. Decades of patient, nonviolent resistance for India's independence.
Wow, that's quite a lineup. When you look at all those lives, what's the common thread that jumps out at you? It really hits home that impact isn't about speed, it's about depth, about being rooted.
Yeah, the common thread, and it applies to anyone really, is that time was used either by them or you could say by circumstance or God to build profound trust and character. Waiting wasn't the punishment. It was the preparation. It wasn't silence. It was strategy. And looking back, the wait always served a bigger purpose. It was worth it.
Okay, so if waiting is purposeful, what's actually happening behind the curtain? Especially in those really quiet seasons when prayers seem to bounce off the ceiling or efforts just yield nothing.
Right. We tend to equate progress or even God's presence with lots of noise and activity. But some of the most critical growth happens when everything feels still. God's silence isn't his absence. That's key. Think of a seed underground. Looks like nothing's happening up top, right? But underneath, a miracle's unfolding. Roots are going down. Something essential is being planted in us that just cannot be rushed. The wilderness, these stripped-down times, they're like God's favorite classroom. Seems like scarcity, but it brings simplicity. Cuts through the noise. His voice gets clearer. Moses, Elijah, Jesus, they all had major wilderness time. Not punishment, preparation, recalibration. You learn dependence. You hear past your own clamoring desires.
So when prayers feel unanswered, it might not be a no. It could be a not yet, or maybe even a time for internal strengthening we don't recognize.
Exactly. It's often a not yet. He might be developing your capacity, getting you ready to handle what's coming. Or maybe purifying your motives, making sure the foundation is solid before building on it. Your spiritual hearing, your intuition, it gets sharpened in that quiet. You learn discernment. The book stresses that God often tests us privately before promoting us publicly. Those hidden seasons, that's where he builds the real stuff.
Yeah.
Integrity, patience, deep faith, resilience. He says God is more interested in your becoming than your arriving. Remember King Saul? Elevated too soon. His character couldn't handle it, David. Refined in obscurity first.
So what specific virtues get forged in that fire of waiting?
Onunga lists several key ones. First, patience. Not just passively putting up with stuff, but active trust. It's a fruit of the Spirit, he says, grows stronger daily. Humility. Waiting reminds you, hey, you're not the boss of the universe. Shifts you from, I deserve this now, to, okay, Lord, I trust your timing. Endurance. Just the ability to keep going despite setbacks. Like Romans says, suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance, character. Character, hope. Empathy. Waiting softens you, helps you genuinely feel for others going through hard times, equips you to comfort them. Discernment teaches you to pause, pray, distinguish a good idea from a God idea, sharpens that inner knowing. Gratitude helps you actually see and appreciate what you have, not just fixate on what's missing. And identity, this is huge. Waiting teaches your worth isn't tied to your achievements or titles. It's intrinsic. It's about who you belong to.
That's a really powerful framework. It makes it so clear. Every moment waiting with intention isn't wasted. It's an investment. Building the maturity you need, not just to get the promise, but actually sustain it when it comes. Okay, let's get really practical then. This isn't about sitting on our hands. It's active waiting, you said. So what can we actually do while we're in that waiting room of life?
Exactly. It's active trust. It's like that farmer tending the fields can't control the sun or rain, but can weed, water, prepare the soil. We control the conditions around us. The author gets really concrete actions. First, deepen your relationship with God. Use the time. Pray intentionally. Meditate on Scripture. Just listen in the silence. Seek his heart, not just his hand, Second, strengthen your skills. What can you learn? What can you sharpen? David honed his skills with a harp and sling in the wilderness, right? Platforms are often built in private. Third, serve others faithfully. Waiting can make us turn inward, get self-absorbed. Serving others, that cultivates growth, perspective, empathy. Joseph served faithfully even in prison. Fourth, steward what you already have. Your money, relationships, time, current job. Are you faithful with the little things now? Luke 16.10, right? Faithful in little, faithful in much. Fifth, detox your mind and emotions. Use the pause to process stuff. Hidden insecurities, frustrations, maybe old bitterness. Journal it out, release it, realign your expectations. Six, build your support circle. Don't isolate. Find people who speak truth and life, who encourage you. And seventh, keep moving with purpose. Don't put your whole life on pause. Pursue small goals, study something, create, volunteer, live while you wait.
And the book really hits on this idea of purpose in the process. It's not just about the destination, it's who you're becoming on the way there.
Precisely. The person you become during the journey. That's the person who can actually handle the blessing when it arrives. God uses the process often to prune away stuff that shouldn't go with you into the next season. Things like maybe over-reliance on yourself, idols you didn't realize you had, wrong motives. It's like that verse in John about pruning branches so they bear more fruit. It can hurt, but it's for growth.
It's like that image of a plane circling the airport, not lost, just waiting for the right conditions, the right alignment for a safe landing. We're not just circling aimlessly, we're circling for alignment. Okay, but even understanding all this, waiting is hard. It can really grind you down. What happens when hope just starts to fade, when discouragement really takes root?
Yeah, that's incredibly real, and the book definitely addresses it. That weight of unmet expectations can absolutely lead to disillusionment, doubt, comparing yourself to others, bitterness, even, major figures like Elijah had this huge victory at Mount Carmel, then crashed hard, ran away, totally discouraged. And what did God do? He didn't yell at him. He sent an angel to feed him, let him rest, and gently reminded him, hey, you're not alone. That message is for all of us. You are not alone in this.
So if you feel like you're right on that edge, just wanting to give up, how do you keep going? What helps pull you back?
The author gives some great practical anchors. First, revisit what God said. Go back to the promises, the truths you know. Isaiah 40.8. The word of our God stands forever. Anchor yourself there. Second, acknowledge the pain, honestly. God can handle your real feelings. Look at David in the Psalms. He poured out his discouragement, his anger, his fear, but he always circled back to trust in the end. Third, focus on what you can still control. Your attitude, your choice to worship even when you don't feel like it, your daily disciplines, just showing up in obedience when you're discouraged. That's powerful faith. Fourth, surround yourself with the right voices. Critically important. Don't let discouragement fester in isolation. Get around wise, faith-filled, encouraging people. And finally, feed your hope. Actively consume things that build faith. Stories of God's faithfulness. Scripture, worship music. Romans 15.13. May the God of hope fill you. Hope needs fuel. And remember this, discouragement often means you've been fighting for something significant, that breaking point. It's often right before the birthing point.
And then, after all that waiting, all that struggle, how do you even recognize when the season is finally shifting, when breakthrough is actually happening? Because like you said, it's not always trumpets and flashing lights, right?
No, often it's much more subtle. Look for signs like maybe opportunities start aligning almost effortlessly. Doors just open. Or maybe your own perspective shifts. You notice less fear, more faith. The burden feels lighter somehow. A new boldness starts rising up inside you. God prepares the heart, readies the ground before the harvest actually shows. And here's a key thing. Don't miss the moment. After waiting so long, sometimes fear or second guessing makes people hesitate right when it's time to move. When your spirit, your gut, senses that shift, move forward with peace and alignment. And when fulfillment does come, let gratitude be your default setting. Steward that breakthrough well, with integrity, generosity, excellence, accountability. Stay rooted in the giver, not just the gift. Fulfillment isn't an endpoint, it's a new beginning, a new level of responsibility.
So wrapping this all up, what does this mean for you listening right now as you move forward? This deep dive into time spent waiting is not wasted. It's a powerful reminder, isn't it? In God's hands, or even just in the framework of personal growth, waiting is never truly empty. It's sacred space. It's not a prison. It's a process. Not just delay, it's divine design.
Yeah, the call really is to learn not just how to wait, but how to live with peace and purpose even when things aren't happening on your preferred timeline. It's about letting go of that tight grip on your calendar, trusting there's a bigger picture, a better schedule unfolding, finding peace even when the story feels unfinished. Like Philippians 4 says, don't be anxious, and the peace of God will guard your hearts and minds. That peace is available even in the wait.
And it's not passive. It's a faith that walks while it waits. Think of Noah, building that ark for years with no rain. Abraham, setting out not knowing the final destination. Paul, preaching and planting churches through immense hardship. Keep pursuing your calling. Keep loving people. Keep working diligently, even without the full picture. Because, as Isaiah 40.31 promises, those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength found in the waiting.
And here's maybe a final thought to chew on. Your life isn't just about what you achieve or receive. It's also about what you model for others, how you navigate your waiting seasons. That's a powerful testimony. To your kids, your friends, your community, what kind of legacy of trust, of resilience are you building right now in your waiting?
So don't fear the next waiting season when it comes. Don't rush through the one you might be in right now. Don't despise the silence. Measure your life by faithfulness, by your internal growth, not just by speed or external markers. You're not standing still. You are becoming. And becoming, as we've explored today, is never, ever wasted. Wait well, and while you wait, live fully, love deeply, and trust completely.